Discover the amazing night in one room with just one blanket that changed their lives forever. The storm raged outside, a wild beast unleashing torrents of snow and wind, trapping Emily and her children inside their small, cluttered apartment. At 35, Emily felt the weight of the world pressing on her shoulders. The loss of her husband, a war veteran whose honest grit she admired, had left a void as vast as the winter sky. It wasn't just the shrinking space that choked her so, but the flickering distance that had grown between her and her two little ones, Jake and Lily. As they huddled together under a single, worn blanket, the only reliable source of comfort against the crisp bite of winter, emotions surged like snow melting under the first light of spring. "Mom, can we tell stories?" Jake asked, his voice brightening the dark corner of the room. Lily tucked closer to Emily, her curls dancing in the flickering candlelight. Emily smiled, albeit wearily, and nodded. In that moment, they transformed the blanket into a magical canopy, wrapping around their shared secrets and hopes, binding them tighter than the fabric itself. "Okay, I'll go first," Jake said, fidgeting with excitement. "I want to be an astronaut. I'll explore Mars and discover new aliens." His eyes gleamed, the world outside forgotten under the warmth of imagination. Laughter erupted, cutting through the harsh wind outside. Lily giggled, then grew serious. "But what if the aliens wanna, eat you?" Her eyes widened, feigning fear but revealing a spark of creativity. Emily's heart swelled. How far they had fallen from the carefree joy of family dinners and spontaneous road trips. The air grew thick with longing, and the weight of Jake's light-hearted dreams hung on Emily's chest like a lead weight. As they exchanged dreams and fears, Lily took a deep breath. "Mom, I want to be an artist. I want to paint everything." The room fell silent. Emily's heart raced as she acknowledged the tension in the air. "I want to support them," but her thoughts crashed like waves. How could she nurture Lily's dreams when empty pockets chased every ideal? "Lily," Emily began, feeling the tightness in her chest grow. But before she could voice her doubts, a knock on the door broke the moment. "It's Mrs. Parker," the familiar voice called out. The elderly artist, whose warmth rivaled a cozy fire, stepped into their chilly haven. With paint-streaked hands and wise eyes, she brought laughter and comfort, sharing stories of her own struggles as an artist. Intrigued, Lily's face lit up like a star in the dark sky. "You could help me with my art, couldn't you?" "Of course, my dear," Mrs. Parker replied. Emily felt the flicker of hope awaken deep within. But alongside it, the familiar sting of self-doubt crept in. She was an ocean away from her own dreams, drifting further from the shore. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As their laughter danced like flames in the hearthlight, Emily knew they were at a crossroads. This night, wrapped in a singular blanket and clutching their dreams close, could be a spark. Could they be more than their circumstances? Would the dawn bring with it a new chance? As the wind howled, the warmth of unity flourished under that battered fabric, hinting at possibilities. Amidst laughter, hope, and fear, they were 2 steps closer to reclaiming their faith in each other. Could they forge a new path in the winter of their lives? The howling wind continued its relentless assault on the windows, yet inside the apartment, the atmosphere shifted from cold isolation to a bubble of possibility. Mrs. Parker, with her gentle demeanor, sparked something in Emily that had long been dormant. As the children chatted eagerly about art supplies and paint colors, Emily felt a rush of warmth filling her heart, dispelling the winter chill. "Let us make this a special night," Mrs. Parker suggested, reaching into her bag. She pulled out a few paintbrushes and a small, vibrant palette of colors that seemed to glisten even in the dim light. "Mom, can we?" Jake asked, his excitement bubbling over. Please, let us paint. Lily's wide eyes mirrored Jake's enthusiasm. Emily glanced at the flickering candles, their flames dancing like the dreams she wished to ignite in her children. Okay, she relented with a soft smile. Let us do it. They spread out the canvas that Mrs. Parker had brought, the fabric blank and eager for color. It transformed the room into a makeshift studio, a safe enclave against the storm. With each brushstroke, the children lost themselves in their worlds, laughter erupting now and then as they created fantastical landscapes and wild characters. Emily watched in awe, her heart swelling as she saw not just the art taking shape, but the bond forming among them. Each stroke on the canvas was like a thread weaving them closer together. She began to lose herself in their joy, forgetting that the evening was meant to be a survival of sorts, grasping at fleeting moments of warmth. Look, Mom, Jake exclaimed, holding up his masterpiece, a wild rocket ship soaring above the clouds. He beamed, radiating pure joy. When I go to Mars, I'll take this with me. Absolutely. It'll be your good luck charm, Emily replied, a hint of a tear glimmering in her eye, sparked by both pride and the bittersweet pang of longing for all the adventures they would never share. Lily was already engrossed in her own creation. I'm painting a garden where all the colors are our dreams, she declared, carefully blending vibrant hues, shaping them into flowers that almost danced with life. As Mrs. Parker guided them, Emily felt that flickering hope grow stronger. You know, it's okay if things seem tough right now, Mrs. Parker said gently, pausing to add a brilliant sun to Lily's sky. Art helps us see things differently. It turns our struggles into something beautiful. Can we really? Lily asked, her innocent curiosity causing a ripple of laughter in the room. Of course. Every great artist faced challenges. But it's what we create from them that truly matters, Mrs. Parker replied. Each word was soaked in meaning, dripping with the possibility of change. With each brushstroke, Emily felt her dreams tugging at the corners of her consciousness, wanting to break free from the cold grip of doubt. She glanced at the canvas and felt a whisper of inspiration reach her heart, a longing to capture her own story, her own dreams. For the first time in a long while, the daunting weight she carried felt lighter. The storm might howl outside, and the darkness would not lift, but inside this little apartment, warmth and togetherness grew stronger. And in that moment, Emily dared to imagine the possibility of her own brush touching canvas, sharing in the creation of a life filled with color, hope, and joy. But just as their laughter echoed, there came a sudden loud thud from the window, rattling their makeshift gallery. The kids jumped, startled, their creations forgotten for a breathless moment. What was that? Jake asked, wide-eyed, his earlier confidence replaced by a flicker of fear. Emily's heart raced. It's just the storm, I'm sure, she reassured them, though her own unease crept in. But as she looked back at the canvas, a thought loomed in her mind. What if this night truly changed everything? As they hesitated, another knock echoed against the door, louder than before. This one sounded different, more insistent. Who could that be? Lily whispered, a mix of excitement and anxiety coloring her voice. Emily glanced at Mrs. Parker, whose face held a knowing glint. Only one way to find out, right? Mrs. Parker said, her smile unwavering. But would this new arrival be a blessing or an unexpected challenge? At that moment, Emily felt the stirring of trepidation tethered to hope. What awaited them beyond the door? Emily's pulse quickened as she exchanged glances with Mrs. Parker. The warmth of the room felt suddenly fragile, like the delicate paintbrushes they had been wielding a moment before. The rattling winds of the storm outside amplified the tension, and the knock at the door echoed in her ears. Should I open it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake and Lily seemed to lean into each other, their small bodies searching for comfort. Maybe we should just let it go, Jake suggested, his bravado fading. What if it's a monster? Lily giggled nervously. Or a ghost? Emily shook her head, a soft smile attempting to break the anxious aura that enveloped them. Whatever it is, it's probably just a neighbor looking for help. Let us check. Together? Jake asked, his hand reaching for Lily's. Yes, together, Emily affirmed, feeling her strength surge from their small solidarity. As she approached the door, every step felt heavier than the last. With each breath, the warmth of creativity and family slowly transformed into a cold flicker of uncertainty. Emily hesitated for just a moment, steadied herself, and turned the knob. The door creaked open, revealing a figure shrouded in the shadows of the storm. "Hello?" she called out, peering into the darkness beyond. The figure shifted, and as it stepped closer, the light from the candles flickered to life, revealing the drenched coat and tired eyes of an unexpected visitor. "Please, I need help," the stranger said, voice trembling like dry leaves in the wind. The words were barely above a whisper, yet they echoed in Emily's heart. "Come in, quickly," she urged, stepping aside. The stranger entered, shaking off water like a stray dog. The room filled with a mixture of scents, damp fabric, and the faint aroma of paint mingled together, transforming the air into something almost surreal. "Who are you?" Lily boldly asked, peeking from behind her brother. "I'm sorry for barging in. My name is Alex. I got caught in the storm. My car broke down a few miles back," the stranger replied, his eyes darting nervously around the room. "I saw your lights and thought." He paused, faltering as he met Emily's gaze. "It's okay. You're safe here with us," Emily assured him, though her heart lurched with the weight of his vulnerability. She gestured to a towel hanging near the heater. "Dry off, and you can join us by the candles." Alex's shoulders relaxed slightly as he took the towel. "Thank you, it means a lot." He wiped his face and bent down to speak to the children. "What are you all working on?" "We're painting," Jake exclaimed with newfound energy, now fascinated by the stranger. "I made a rocket ship." As Emily looked at Alex interacting with her children, a spark of something warm ignited within her. He wasn't just a stranger. He was a reminder of connection, the unexpected paths life laid before them. The bond that art created was suddenly woven into an unexpected encounter, forging a link that felt profoundly significant. "I can help you with your paintings," Alex suggested, his eyes lighting up with a flicker of enthusiasm. "I used to love painting when I was your age." "Really?" Lily's eyes widened as she trained her curious gaze on him. "Yes, I might even have some old tricks up my sleeve," he winked, breaking through the tension with a genuine smile. Emily didn't know what would come of this unexpected visit, but as she watched the barriers dissolve between them all, she felt hope swell again. Would Alex's presence turn this night into something more than just an escape from the storm? Could it be a beginning? Just then, a loud clap of thunder rattled the room, shaking the windows once more. Lily jumped into Jake's arms, the moment of joy interrupted by the storm's ominous growl. "Let us paint through the storm," Emily declared, her heart racing with excitement. "Let us make it a night to remember." As they gathered around the canvas, the room filled with chatter and laughter again, but in the back of Emily's mind lingered one question: who was this man standing among them, and how much could his arrival change the course of their night? With each brushstroke, they began to weave their new story together, but Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to unfold. Would this night truly change everything? Emily positioned the canvas before them, the blank surface eager for color. With brushes in hand, they were ready to paint away the storm, to fill the air with laughter and strokes of imagination. The dark clouds outside faded momentarily, eclipsed by the warmth of their gathering. "Okay, Alex, teach us," Jake urged, his excitement bubbling over. Alex grinned, a youthful spark igniting within him. "All right, first, let us paint what we're feeling right now," he suggested. "What do you see in your mind?" Lily thought hard, her brow furrowing adorably. "I see a rainbow after the storm. A rocket ship ready for launch," Jake added, his eyes wide with glee. Emily watched, heart brimming, as the visions of her children burst forth. She felt Alex's presence strengthen the imaginative whirlpool swirling around them. His fingers expertly guided them, showing how to blend colors, overlapping strokes that began to tell their story on the canvas. With each shared laugh, the walls of tension crumbled. The flickering candlelight danced in their eyes, warmth radiating far beyond the storm-soaked world outside. They painted furiously, vibrant greens and blues mirroring the warmth growing in the room. "Look at this swirly sky," Jake exclaimed, making grand strokes. His confidence soared, encouraged by Alex's guiding hand. "Mine is so bright." Lily clapped her hands, smudging a canvas with vivid hues. "It's magic." Alex's laughter mingled with theirs, unearthing childhood memories that had long been tucked away. Yet beneath that lightheartedness, uncertainty lingered in the air. Who was he? What tempest in his life had driven him to seek refuge in their cozy den? As the children became engrossed in their artwork, Emily approached Alex, quietly setting down her brush. "Why did you choose to come here?" He hesitated, glancing at the kids. "I didn't just come for the storm. I needed a place," he whispered. His confession hung heavily between them, a weight she felt resonate deep within her heart. "I've lost someone. It's been hard." "Oh," Emily breathed, her heart aching for him. "I'm so sorry." He offered her a small, appreciative smile, eyes deepening with unspoken stories. "I didn't think much would help tonight until I saw your lights." She nodded, understanding blooming in her chest. "Sometimes we just need to connect even with strangers." In that moment, a rush of empathy surged through her, a warmth that felt like family. Watching Jake and Lily paint, she saw their innocence, their ability to create beauty from chaos, and suddenly believed Alex might find healing in their shared creativity. Lily waved her brush, splattering blue paint across the canvas. "Look, we made a sky." The beauty in that moment wrapped itself around them all, a shared sense of freedom. Emily couldn't help but warm to the connection growing in the room. She wished she could hold on to it forever. Just then, the candles flickered violently as thunder cracked louder, a reminder of the tempest still raging outside. Instinctively, Jake and Lily huddled closer, and Emily felt a chill creep across her skin. "It's okay, we're safe," she reassured them, injecting steadiness into her voice, but Alex's expression darkened. He looked toward the window, shadows playing upon his face like the storm itself. "We may not be as safe as we think." The words hung in the air, and Emily's heart skipped a beat. What did he mean? As if reading her thoughts, Alex continued. "Sometimes what we fear most isn't the storm outside, but the storms inside. They can be so much more dangerous." Emily's stomach nodded. Who is he really? And what kind of storm had he weathered? As they all painted together, this twist in their gathering loomed over them, and Emily couldn't shake the feeling that tonight was just beginning. How far would their stories entwine? Would they share their troubles and, perhaps, create new paths toward healing? The storm outside continued to rage, but within the walls of the small room, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows played on the canvases, formed by both flickering candlelight and the thunder that shook the windows. Emily breathed in the fresh smell of paint mingling with the faint scent of rain, feeling an urgent yet gentle pull within her heart. "Let us add more layers," Alex suggested, suddenly animated again. His enthusiasm worked like magic, helping to chase away the gloom. He plucked a bright orange from the palette and demonstrated a technique to mix it with yellow like a sunset. Jake leaned in closer, his eyes wide, mesmerized as Alex instructed. "See how you can blend them to make it glow?" "Whoa," Jake exclaimed, his small fingers flying across his palette, eager to try. The brush danced in his grip, smudging the orange and yellow into what was beginning to resemble the sun. Lily leant in, keen to catch a glimpse of the magic unfolding. Caught up in the moment, Emily felt her own hand reaching toward the canvas. She hadn't painted in years, yet the urge bubbled inside her. "Can I try?" she asked, and instantly, a sense of shared creativity enveloped them. "Of course. Join us," Lily cheered, moving aside to make space for her mother. Just as Emily started to work beside her kids, she caught Alex's eye. He looked surprised but pleased. "It's amazing how art can bring us together, right?" "Absolutely." Emily smiled, but her expression turned serious. Sometimes we need to let out what we're feeling, she admitted. Alex nodded, his gaze drifting to the window. And sometimes that means confronting what we're afraid of. Jake suddenly broke through the moment, pointing eagerly at his painting. Hey, look. It's a rocket ship taking off from the sun. The excitement in his voice was infectious, and it pulled them all back into the realm of pure imagination. As they painted, laughter filled the room, illuminating even the deepest corners of uncertainty. Each stroke became not just a color on a canvas, but a thread connecting their stories, binding them closer. Alex started sharing bits of his own past, a story about a childhood summer spent drawing with his little sister before she left their town, a faint smile teasing the corners of his lips. What was she like? Emily found herself asking gently, sensing the weight of nostalgia in his voice. She was everything full of life, you know? She made me see the world differently, he replied, the light in his eyes dimming. And now, it feels like part of that brightness is gone. Their surroundings fell silent for a moment, the only sounds being the distant crack of thunder and the soft brushstrokes of painting. Emily could hear heartbeats, her own mirroring the children's, all woven together in this fleeting moment of intimacy. Can we do something? Lily piped up, breaking the hush. Let us paint a picture of all of us together. Emily's heart swelled. That's a great idea. They quickly agreed, gathering paint and canvases, each person contributing a piece of themselves to the collective story they were weaving. As they worked, Alex's laughter became lighter, and the flickering candlelight seemed to flicker in time with their joy. The storm outside raged, but within the confines of their artful enclave, healing began to flow as colors blended and friendships deepened. Just as they finished the last strokes, the biggest clap of thunder rattled the windows, and the room inexplicably plunged into darkness. For a moment, there was confusion, then Alex burst into laughter. Well, it seems the universe likes to make things interesting. Emily felt a wave of relief wash over her. Let us get the flashlight. The candles, too. As they scrambled to gather their things, Lily exclaimed, "This is so much fun. Let us keep the lights out." With a spark of bravery igniting the air around them, Emily marveled at the beautiful chaos unfolding. Each of them continued to laugh, embracing the unknown that lay ahead. In that shared darkness, they were stepping towards something unscripted, and it filled the room with uncertainty, yet a budding sense of possibility. What would they discover in this newfound bravery? A thought lingered at the edge of Emily's mind, teasing her with excitement. Could this moment lead to deeper revelations? What other storms awaited them all? The sound of rain drummed steadily against the window, blending with the fading echoes of laughter in the darkened room. Emily fumbled through the shadows until her hand landed on a flashlight. The sudden beam cut through the darkness, illuminating her children's eager faces, while Alex smiled brightly, as if catching the glint of a new beginning. "What should we do now?" Jake asked, his eyes sparkling with the same thrill that surged through the room.
"Story time,"
Lily suggested, her hands clapping together. "Let us make up a story with our drawings." The idea lit a spark within Emily, igniting a sense of camaraderie that only a stormy night could stir. She settled down next to the kids, letting the flashlight rest between them as they all huddled close. Alex took a seat by her side, and for a brief moment, the instant he leaned toward the children, their world felt alive with weaving imagination. "Once upon a time," Emily began, her voice steady amidst the thunder outside, "there was a magical kingdom hidden under a blanket." Jake's eyes widened. "A blanket? Like our living room?" "Exactly." It was no ordinary blanket, but one that could transform the kingdom with every stitch. Emily continued, her excitement growing as she took cues from her kids. Alex chimed in, and every time they pulled it up, they revealed a new adventure: a snow-capped mountain, a beach with the sun shining, or even space with glowing stars. With the outline of their story taking shape, Emily felt waves of nostalgia wash over her. The kind of storytelling that made the world seem wide and the possibilities endless was something she remembered fondly from childhood, a connection she could feel blooming again. Lily gasped. "And what if in this kingdom, The characters worked together to battle a huge storm. They could find treasures hidden inside the downdrafts.
Oh,
And they'd learn important lessons about friendship and bravery along the way. Jake added, his hands animatedly drawing shapes in the air as if painting the imagination before them. With each twist in their tapestry of a story, laughter erupted, echoing even louder than the thunder outside. Emily watched as they created heroes out of their sketches, blending their individual ideas into a dazzling adventure that sparkled with creativity. Then, a performance erupted amongst them. They began acting out their characters: the brave prince, a clever princess, and even a joyously silly dragon as the thunder roared outside. "Let us show the storm who's boss," Lily declared, wrapping her arms around her brother and Alex in a faux showdown against the rain. Giggling, they pretended to wield imaginary swords against the tempest, grounding their fears in playful bravery. Emily felt her heart swell. This was the healing they had unknowingly needed. The uncertainties of life outside faded, replaced by the warmth of shared stories. But then the room rumbled as a particularly loud burst of thunder cracked like a whip. It jolted her from their joyous realm, reminding her of the frailty they each faced. She looked at Alex, who seemed lost momentarily, caught between laughter and an echo of sorrow enveloping him. "Alex, are you okay?" she ventured softly, noticing the shift in his demeanor. He hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Sometimes I forget how much power stories hold. They can bring back memories we thought we lost." Emily nodded, her heart resonating with his words. "And help build new ones too." The room became still for a heartbeat, a shared understanding hanging in the air. They were all wrestling with a past colorful, yet deeply challenging. As the storm pressed on, a quiet determination formed in each of them. They were growing together, page by page, story by story. But then, as lightning flared outside, illuminating the room for a fleeting second, a knock echoed from the door. It was faint, but it sparked a thick thread of excitement amongst them all. Who could be out there in such a storm? Emily felt her pulse quicken again. Was it a sign of change? Without thinking, she exchanged a glance with Alex as they got to their feet, adventure waiting once more. "Should we go see?" Jake asked, wide-eyed. "Let us find out," Emily replied, her heart racing with possibilities. What new journey was about to unfold? The knock came again, this time more insistent, like a plea against the chaos of a storm. Emily's heart raced, a mixture of curiosity and concern flooding her senses. She had always taught her children to be brave, but tonight was different. The storm outside was raging, and there was an uncertainty in the air, like something out of the fairy tale they were weaving. "Who could it be?" Lily whispered, her voice barely above a murmur, her wide eyes reflecting the flashlight's beam. "Maybe it's a magical creature needing help," Jake suggested, his voice brimming with excitement. "Or a lost traveler," Alex added, stepping closer to Emily, the tension palpable between them. He caught her gaze, a shared sentiment passing silently between them, a question of should they or shouldn't they. "Or it could be someone in trouble," Emily said, feeling the weight of responsibility. "We should at least check." She took a deep breath, attempting to mask her trepidation. "Stay close to me." The children huddled tighter together, and with the flashlight leading the way, they approached the door. Each step felt heavier than the last, the pounding of the rain creating a drumbeat that echoed in Emily's ears. "On three, okay?" Emily whispered, exchanging glances with Alex before turning to the kids. 1, 2, 3. She swung the door open, and the storm howled in, as if it were an unwanted guest. Before them stood a figure, drenched and shivering, a young woman in a thin, soaked jacket, her hair plastered against her face. "Please," she gasped, words tumbling out. I saw your light. I got lost in the storm." Her eyes darted to the children, then back to Emily, revealing a vulnerability that tugged at Emily's heart. "Come in quickly," Emily urged, her instincts kicking in as she ushered the stranger inside. The warmth of their home was a stark contrast to the chilling gusts outside. Once the door was closed, the woman leaned against the wall, catching her breath. "I'm sorry to intrude. I didn't know where else to go," she said, looking around at the colorful drawings plastered across the walls. "What you have here, it looks so joyful." "Just trying to survive a storm and make stories," Emily replied, her gaze softening. "We were actually in the middle of creating one." The woman's eyes sparked with interest. "Story time? It was my favorite as a child. I didn't think I'd get a chance to hear one tonight. Would you like to join us?" Lily's voice bubbled with enthusiasm, radiating innocence and warmth that seemed to cut through the heaviness in the room. "I'd love that," the woman replied, her smile breaking through her earlier apprehension. "I can help add to the adventure." As Emily led her over to the makeshift storytelling arena, the blanket fort they'd built earlier, the atmosphere shifted. Laughter began to replace the tension, weaving a new connection among them, like threads leading to a shared home. But as they settled in, Jake suddenly froze, eyes wide. What if the storm changes everything? What if it stops us from finishing our story? He glanced pointedly toward the windows, where the rain poured down in torrents, as if trying to veer their thoughts from joy to dread. In that moment, the room fell silent. Emily's heart sank at Jake's words, the heavy insecurity he felt mirrored in her own thoughts. The journey of healing they were on could easily be shadowed by the fears lurking just beyond the door. "Stories can change the storm," Alex interjected bravely, leaning forward, his voice steady. "They remind us of what we can be together." As the stranger nodded in agreement, Emily felt the cracks begin to mend. The night was still turbulent, both outside and within, yet here, wrapped in stories, they could weave a tapestry of courage, imagination, and light. Just then, as if answering their unspoken vow, the lights flickered, and the room plunged into darkness. The flashlight fizzled out, leaving them in a cocoon of uncertainty. A mix of gasps filled the space, voices quaking with a blend of fear and excitement. "Don't worry," Emily spoke firmly, trying to inspire courage. "We can still tell our story in the dark." In that moment, the faintest light flickered as the stranger pulled a small, glowing crystal from her pocket. It shimmered differently than any light they'd seen before, casting soft hues across the room. "What's that?" Jake asked, captivated, as the shadowy outlines came to life. "It's a memory crystal," the woman explained gently. "It holds stories from the past, and it can guide us through the dark." Emily felt her pulse racing again, anticipation bubbling in her chest. What stories would this crystal reveal? And would it help them face the storm? Or would it lead them to discover something even greater? Taking a deep breath, she asked, "Then let us find out." As they huddled closer, the world outside seemed to fade, their hearts racing in sync with the heartbeat of the storm. What lay ahead, whether treasure or trouble, felt like a blank page turning, ready to shape a new story that none of them expected. The soft glow of the memory crystal bathed the room in a warm light, pushing back against the shadows that danced along the walls. Emily felt a current of anticipation buzzing among them. It was as if they were all a part of something bigger than themselves, connected by the pulse of the storm outside and the magic of the moment. "Can you show us a story?" Alex asked, his voice tinged with eagerness, stepping closer to the shimmering light. The stranger smiled softly, her gaze drifting to the crystal as if it were a cherished friend. "Stories are powerful," she replied. "They can take you places you never imagined." Lily, unable to hold back her excitement any longer, jumped up. "Let us go on an adventure," she exclaimed, her voice ringing out like a chime in the night. "All right. But remember, this is a journey of memories." The woman held the crystal delicately, her expression shifting to one of deep focus. "Close your eyes and let the light guide you." As the children obeyed, Emily caught a glimpse of the woman's face. Her features were softening, her brow furrowing as if searching through distant memories. "Imagine," she began, her voice smooth and rhythmic. "A small village where a little girl named Clara lived at the edge of the woods. Every night, she would gaze at the stars and dream of flying higher than the mountains." The room transformed. Emily found herself transported into the warmth of Clara's world, feeling the soft, cool breeze brush against her skin. She could see the stars twinkling overhead like a blanket sprawled across the sky, each flickering light a promise of adventure. Suddenly, Jake squeezed Lily's hand tighter. What if something goes wrong? His voice was barely a whisper, his uncertainty creeping back in, a splash of fear mixing in with the wonder. Sometimes, challenges lead to the best stories, the woman reassured him, her eyes shining like the crystal. She continued weaving Clara's tale, filled with encounters of kindness and bravery, reminding them that even in the dark, hope flickered like the smallest flame against the vastness of despair. As the story unfolded, Emily saw Jake's tension fade, replaced by a look of determination. The children were now enraptured, embracing each twist and turn with spirited gasps and hushed laughter. The outside storm no longer felt threatening. It was just the backdrop for their adventure, a mere whisper compared to the tales they were now living through. But then, the air shifted. A sudden rush of wind curled through the house. The crystal's glow flickered menacingly as the woman's voice faltered. The shadows whispered again, shadows of things unspoken, of fears long buried. We must speak of our own storms, she continued, the tremor evident in her tone. What challenges linger inside? Emily's heart quickened. The storm outside mirrored the unraveling tensions within. It was a reminder that this night was not just about storytelling. They were being called to confront their own truths. Can we really face them together? Alex asked, his voice trembling but resolute. The room was charged with a sense of urgency, every eye locked on the flickering light, the very symbol of hope, illumination, and vulnerability. The woman took a step closer, eyes earnest. Yes, she affirmed. The memories are held not just in the stories I share, but in how we confront our fears and find strength in one another. Silence filled the room, heavy yet pregnant with possibility. What storms threatened each of their lives? What anguish did they carry that needed to be told? And could they find the courage to share these heartaches under the gentle light of the crystal? As the wind howled outside, the children's faces shifted from excitement to contemplation. The adventure wasn't just outside. It was deep within them, waiting to be unearthed. With fragile courage, Emily whispered, "Let us share. Let us bring everything into the light." And with that phrase, the room felt alive with hope, ready to transform whatever storms stood in their way into stories of triumph and healing. But just as truths began to unearth, the air thickened. A loud crash nearby jolted them, sending shivers down their backs. The storm had reached its peak, pounding against their home like an unexpected intruder. Emily could hardly breathe, her heart pounding like thunder as fear began to creep back in. What had they awakened? What storms lay ahead, both out there in the wild night and within their own hearts? As shadows loomed and the storm roared angrily outside, they braced themselves for what was to come. Would they uncover the light in their darkness, or be swept away by the fear threatening to engulf them all? The thunder rumbled again, shaking the very foundations of the house. The children looked to the window, where flashes of lightning painted the room in stark silver. In that moment, they could no longer ignore the tempest raging outside. It was the storm that had frightened them from the start, but also held a strange allure. A reminder that chaos often precedes change. "Let us not think about the storm," Lily said, bravely squeezing Jake's hand. "Let us focus on the story." Emily took a deep breath. "Lily's right. We have to face our storms together." Each child's face reflected a mix of excitement and dread, but they also felt the strength in their shared resolve. This was their moment, to turn vulnerability into courage. The woman, still clutching the memory crystal, smiled softly, her eyes shimmering with understanding. "You are stronger than you know. And remember, sharing your truth brings light into the darkest places." The words curled in the air like soft tendrils, inviting yet fervent. A collective shiver ran through the children, a mixture of anticipation and fear. "Can I go first?" Alex asked, shifting on the floor, his voice steady, but laced with a whisper of fear. "There's something I've been holding inside." The air thickened with tension as all eyes turned to him. Taking a deep breath, Alex let the words spill out. I'm scared I'm not good enough for the basketball team. My friends think I'm just taking up space. A hush filled the room. Emily watched as Jake turned his head slightly, his earlier doubt forgotten. But you're good, Alex. You just need to believe it, he said, voice firm despite the tremor in his hands. Exactly, the woman responded, her tone gentle yet penetrating. Acknowledging fears can transform them. What else is behind your storm? More words flowed from Alex, not just about basketball but about feeling lost among his friends, about wanting to be seen, to belong. Each confession seemed to lift a weight not just from his shoulders, but from everyone present. As Alex finally let the silence settle around them, Jake looked up, his face scrunching in thought. Can I share? I feel heavy too, he murmured. Of course, Emily encouraged, her heart racing with hope for him. I worry all the time about my family. They fight a lot and I think it's my fault. I'm supposed to make them happy, but I can't. His voice broke slightly, tears glistening in his eyes. Family troubles. The kind of thing that echoed in the hearts of many, who felt like they stood on shaky ground. Even Emily could sense the sorrow gripping Jake, the way his spirit seemed to tremble in the storm of his fears. Jake, it's not your fault, Lily assured him, her brows knitted together, her determination shining like a beacon. You're not alone. As Jake shared his feelings, the room filled with a warmth that slowly chased away the chill in their hearts. Each confession was like a drop in a puddle, creating ripples of understanding that connected them in an intimate circle of empathy. Emily felt the love surround her. But her own storm still raged within. She had yet to voice her truth. Okay, I'll go next, she said. Sometimes, I feel like a failure at school. Like I can never measure up. No matter how hard I try, I can't seem to keep up. A moment of shared silence followed, until Lily reached out, grasping Emily's hands tightly. You are not a failure. You try your hardest, and that matters more than any grade. The dark shadows that had threatened to consume them began to recede. Each admission, each fear laid bare, illuminated the bond they shared, the strength they could muster together. As they cast away their uncertainties like leaves in the storm, a sudden silence enveloped them. The outside fury seemed to pause, holding its breath as the house was filled with echoing declarations of hope, friendship, and kindness. And that's when the crystal began to pulse with a brilliant light, nearly blinding as the winds subsided outside. The grandmotherly woman's eyes widened, sensing the power surging within them. What is happening? Jake asked, confusion mingling with awe. Something extraordinary, she whispered, standing taller, as if the energy was lifting her spirit. Something far greater than you can already imagine. As she began to speak once more, the ground trembled faintly beneath them, hinting at the revelation still to come. What power lay ahead within this shared moment? What stories would be born anew out of courage and connection? The air crackled with anticipation, setting their hearts racing. This night was far from over, and their journey was just beginning. The thunder outside began to fade, replaced with a soft patter of rain. The tension left behind in the wake of their shared truths felt lighter, as if the storm had passed not just through the world outside but deep within them. The room was alive, illuminated by the warm glow of the memory crystal, now pulsating softly in harmony with their beating hearts. Emily cast her gaze around, taking in the wonder in Jake's and Lily's eyes. For the first time in a long while, she felt the heavy weight of doubt lift, revealing the tender shoots of hope that dared to blossom. Each confession in this little sanctuary had been an offering, a bridge that connected them through their fears and dreams, creating an undeniable bond. I think it's time to imagine a brighter ending, the elderly woman said, her voice resonating with confidence. What if you shared your dreams of the future together? Jake's eyes sparkled with newfound fervor. What if I can be the world's first astronaut to build a greenhouse on Mars? He exclaimed, a contagious grin spreading across his face. Or a magical artist who paints the skies. Lily chimed in, wide-eyed and eager, her small hands dancing in the air as if the possibilities were swirling around them. An electric thrill surged in the room, igniting a symphony of dreams. Emily felt her own long-suppressed aspirations stir within her. I see a future where we create something beautiful from everything we've faced, something colorful, filled with stories. Her voice trembled as she breathed life into her own feelings, and the warmth of solidarity enveloped her. Then let us paint it, Alex called out, his spirit renewed. Let us tell this story with all our colors. With that, they united in creative fervor. Brushes flew, laughter erupted, and the memories they shared became splashes of color vibrant on their canvas. Emily dipped her brush, blending her fears and dreams into striking hues. In every stroke, she felt a part of her reclaiming the artist inside, a piece she thought had been lost. Through the storm and in shared vulnerability, they filled the canvas with hope, each brushstroke echoing the laughter and connection in the room. Outside, the tempest began to wane, the sky slowly turning dark blue instead of ominous gray, echoing the transformation that was taking place within each of them. As the last strokes were added, they stepped back, breathlessly gazing at their creation, their dreams woven together like fabric of a new life. The painting was a tapestry of solidarity and optimism, a symbol that they could weather storms together and emerge stronger. Suddenly, there was a knock. This time, warmth radiated from within them, a softness that had woven their hearts together. Emily instinctively opened the door. Standing there, in that flickering light, was Mrs. Parker, her elderly frame silhouetted against the fading storm. I could hear your laughter from down the hall, she exclaimed, her voice cheerful, full of light. I knew I'd find you all creating something special tonight. Come see. Jake tugged at her hand, pulling her toward the painting. Mrs. Parker's eyes widened as she beheld the artwork, tears welling up. This is beautiful, she whispered, her heart swelling with pride. You've transformed your storm into a rainbow. I think we all needed this night, Alex added, glancing at each of them with gratitude that warmed his core. Finding each other in difficult times can change the path of our journeys. Yes. The words spilled from Lily, her excitement palpable. We can be brave and make life colorful, right? Emily felt the knot in her heart loosen. Absolutely, she affirmed, glancing at her children, who stood proud beside her. We can create magic, even when life feels heavy. As the storm outside faded completely, she felt certainty settle in her soul. Together, they would face whatever life threw at them together. They were stronger than any storm. The moment clung in the air like a sweet reminder. They stood together, bathed in the light of the flickering candles, hearts full of hope, ready to embrace the dawn that approached. Healing had begun, magic was alive, and the adventure wasn't just about surviving, it was about thriving, creating, and loving fiercely. Let us promise to always face storms together, Emily suggested softly, and one by one, they nodded earnestly, smiles brightening their faces. The night they feared could be the beginning of their own fairy tale. As the final echoes of thunder faded into the distance, Emily's heart danced with the colors of possibility, knowing they could embrace life as challenges with courage and creativity. This was not just an ending. It was the beginning of all their stories intertwined in the most beautiful way. And now, you, dear audience, must take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire hope and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because every click counts, and you matter. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share your favorite part, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we spread the light. This is the moment to show your support. Let us keep the magic alive.